Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Makor podcast experience, this week's Parsha podcast. Very exciting week this week. I am joined in the studio by some wonderful and friendly and familiar faces. We have Yochi Gildelson in the house. We have Danny Revich. We have Ez Perlstein. We have Max. We have David DJ Manu Friedman. We have Avraham Imani. We have Jonah Friedman. And last but not least, we have Suki Sobel in the house. And a very jam-packed studio right here. And right here, next to me, or in front of me, whichever way you want to put it, we have Nitti Heineman, who will start off by telling us something very exciting that happened this week. So Nitti, what exciting happened this week?
This week, Hasidus Sushi happened, which I wasn't by the last 3 weeks, and it felt very good to be back there to learn about Purim, and we had a nice time.
Very cool. You learned about Purim. Very nice. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Anything else exciting happened at Hasidus and Sushi? Did they have food? What?
They had sushi.
Ooh. Okay.
And seltzer.
Seltzers. Sounds good. Did anyone else from Makor go?
Jonah Friedman went with me.
Jonah, you went also. Very nice. Okay, sounds like a cool experience. Hasidus and Sushi Thursday nights. Okay, now, next up, we have Yochi Gittelson, who is going to come up and tell us something exciting that happened to him this week at Makor.
Okay.
Nice to have you back, Yochi.
Yes. The exciting of the week, the Night Seder is going good, strong.
Ooh, you went to Night Seder?
Yeah.
Very nice.
The Parsha and a lot of stuff is very interesting. Yeah, and I'm very excited about going to Miami for. I'm very excited for Shabbos. I'm going to David Friedman.
Wow.
And I'm going to Miami for Purim.
Very nice.
And yeah, and very exciting week. And Shabbos, and I'm looking forward for an awesome week.
Very nice. Thank you, Yochi. Sounds like you have an exciting, jam-packed week. I hear a lot of guys went to Night Seder this week. And that's it's very cool. You know, we have a very exciting Night Seder program on Tuesdays and Thursday nights here at Makor. And some new people tried it out this week. And they liked it, you know. Can't hurt to try it. And it's something that people seem to be enjoying here at Makor. So we really like the Night Seder program. And we have a jam-packed week this week. This coming week there, unfortunately, we will not have the podcast on Friday because it's we're not going to have school. But we will have our podcast, God willing,
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yes.
For
And
so
stay tuned for that.
Special event for Wednesday. That will be a special event.
So stay tuned for Wednesday. Okay. Now, just for a quick Parsha thought. Parsha says in Shemos, Vayevarach Osam Moshe. Right, this week is Parsha's Pekudei, the last Parsha in Sefer Shemos, in the book of Shemos. And we're getting ready to finish the book of Exodus. So when the pasuk says Vayevarach Osam Shemos, on this verse, Rashi explains that Moshe Rabbeinu expressed the wish that the blessing, the bracha of the Shekhinah, Hashem's resting place, would rest on their handiwork, on the Jewish people's handiwork. As it is said in Tehillim, chapter 90, right? Psalms chapter 90, right? One of the 11 chapters of Tehillim. V'hi noyam Hashem alekeinu aleinu u'ma'aseh yadeinu konina aleinu u'ma'aseh yadeinu koninehu. Why did Moshe have to give Am Yisrael an extra bracha, an extra blessing, after they had already received Hashem's promise of the Asuli Mikdash Shekanti B'Socham, right? They will make me a sanctuary, Hashem says, and I will reside in their midst. Hashem will be within us, among us. Right? In other words, Hashem had already promised them that He, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, our God, would bless them by having His divine presence dwell in the sanctuary. Right? The interpretation we wish to offer is that although Hashem gave His promise that by virtue of the erection of the sanctuary He would dwell in the midst of His people, nevertheless He craves our prayers as is evidenced by the experiences of our forefathers. Avraham underwent excruciating trials for which he deserved many merits, but he was granted a son and heir only by prayer. Similarly, Yaakov was born to Yitzchak only in the wake of the many prayers that he and his wife Rivka offered to Hashem. Indeed, if not for the many trials and tribulations that Avraham withstood, were they not sufficient to reward him the birth of a son? Right? Why he had to use all that prayer was the trials and tribulations of the Akedas Yitzchak, of him offering Yitzchak as a korban to God. Was that not sufficient to reward him the birth of a son? However, the merits of withstanding a trial, although they are tremendous, right? They are very not easy to overcome, are not sufficient to endure the test of time if his descendants stray from the path of the Torah and rebel against the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? God forbid. Whereas the rewards of constant prayer remain untarnished, right? Even if he or his offspring stumble in sin. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not rely on the intrinsic merits of our forefathers because He knew that Am Yisrael would sin, right? The nation of Israel would sin and thereby lose out on those merits. But He, God, caused our forefathers to have to pray intensively in order to be worthy of descendants when the merit of prayer would withstand even the capital sin of Avodah Zarah, which is idol worship. So my dear friends, right? Let's remember, everyone to listening in the podcast, to rejoice with the splendid gift of prayer that Hashem has bestowed upon us. Right? He gave us this wonderful gift and make full use of the wonderful powers that we have in prayer, thereby, and we should come closer to Hashem, meriting the lives and see Mashiach, the Messiah, coming. B'mhera v'yameinu. Amen. And we will end off with a nice Shabbos song. Yismichu v'malchuscha, Yismichu v'malchuscha. Join the Shabbat v'toy le'yayne koreyone. Yismichu v'malchuscha, Yismichu v'malchuscha. Join the Shabbat v'toy le'yayne koreyone. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Stay tuned again next Wednesday for the next episode of the Parsha Experience, special Purim episode. This week's episode is sponsored by Jonah's Questions. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good Shabbos and a good week.